What's up, Pally? Today is Friday, November 20th, 2020, and InFocus starts right now.
Embarcadero Road. Walk sign is on the crossing.
Welcome to InFocus. I'm JP Conrad. This week, Santa Clara County moved to the purple tier, resulting in many businesses, some of which had only recently reopened, to restrict capacity or close up again. Despite the struggles for staying open, some businesses are taking this time as an opportunity to thrive under the pandemic. InFocus reporter Ellie Roth talks about how fast fashion and how dead stock fabric and recycled clothes might be the future for fashion.
Madison Brown lives in the Bay Area and she has a clothing account on Instagram where she sells reworked, upcycled, and eco friendly clothes that she creates to stay away from fast fashion.
I love designing and sewing. I think it's cool to have every item unique, handmade. I know my brand right now is really small. I am hoping that it will grow over the years, but I'm always there's always other ways to source things like fabric. Clothes that I use are actually donated from people in the Bay Area, and I don't buy any of the fabric. Everything is recycled.
What Maddie is referring to is trying to use zero waste instead of fast fashion, which is where fashion companies overproduce clothes unnecessarily and underpay workers so that they can make more money.
Basically, probably all the brands that you guys shop at are fast fashion. Nike, all of these big brands, they all mass produce. Fast fashion is so terrible for our environment. The whole fashion industry is, but more specifically fast fashion, because they always find a way, their goal is to make money. All they care about is how cheap it is, so they look for the cheapest way to make things. So for example, a lot of it's actually child labor. 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds going into work 15 hours a day, making on a good day maybe $6 a day, which is insane. To think about children making your clothes, it's just crazy to me. In terms of our environment, the way that they produce their fabric, machinery is terrible. Imagine how much water it takes to make one t-shirt, how that water could be used in a more beneficial way. And pollution from machinery, basically mass production on a really big level. It's just a terrible industry. Companies, they actually don't even sell all the clothes that they mass produce after each season. And fashion trends change. One day these shoes are in, the next they're not. And so all of that just goes to waste. Once the companies believe that they're not in, they just go to the landfill.
Maddie knows about what we can do as teenagers in Palo Alto to help stay away from fast fashion and support more eco-friendly shopping options.
I know that for some people it may be hard because they may be into really name brand things, but honestly, there's so many other solutions out there, Depop, Poshmark, thrifting. A lot of thrift stores carry name brands. By shopping secondhand, you're saving hundreds of dollars. I now only thrift and shop secondhand and make my clothes. And upcycling is so easy. For example, just take a shirt and cut it 100%. And there's so many small businesses out there. And I do encourage, if you guys have a sewing machine, you should start making your own clothes. You should start, if you're into business, helping someone create a business like mine, because we really need it right now.
Now that we know why fast fashion is such a problem and what things we can do, Maddie is going to give us a tour and tell us a little bit more about her business.
My whole point of my business is zero waste. I collect all the tiny pieces and the tiny scraps. I cut them up really small, and I have a zero waste textile. Go around your house. You can make stuff out of anything. This is a shower curtain. Literally anything that you find around the house you can use. This is something that I made recently. I design stuff and I normally make it for myself. First to test out the items, and then I start producing them to sell. These are actually so easy to make. I just cut off all of the strips, I bleached them, and I sewed them back on. Honestly, you can make stuff out of anything, just be creative. There's a lot of solutions, and we just don't want to go there. Maybe there's a stigma that wearing reused clothes is gross, but honestly, wearing clothes that children make is disgusting. To think about that, everything that you can buy from all these fashion companies, you can buy secondhand. People have already bought it and they're going to resell it. There's also small businesses on Instagram reselling clothes and upcycling clothes, my business. So there's a lot of solutions.
Thank you. I'm Ellie Roth with InFocus.
Thanks for that, Ellie. While running a business as a high schooler is quite an accomplishment, one woman achieved many on her tenure of the Supreme Court. Matthew Ehrlich has more on the history of the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and her time on the High Court.
I, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
She was just the second woman ever to say these impressive words. After this, she ended up on the Supreme Court for 13 years and was a judge for 27 years up until her untimely death. She was one of the few to be nominated by not one, but two presidents, these being Jimmy Carter in 1980 and Bill Clinton in 1993.
In my lifetime, I expect to see 3, 4, perhaps even more women on the High Court bench.
After this, she did achieve her goal, getting 2 women on the High Court bench. But who actually was the notorious RBG, and what did she do? RBG worked very hard in high school, but her mother had cancer the entire way. On the penultimate day of graduation from high school, her mother, who was her biggest inspiration, passed away. She then traveled to Harvard, where she met her future husband Martin, who just returned from the military. She was at a male-dominant school, where she was only one of the 9 women and one of the other 491 men. Ruth was the first to graduate from the women and became the first member of the prestigious Harvard Law Review. Another challenge soon arose, as her beloved husband Martin was diagnosed with testicular cancer in 1956, which required medication and rehab, which he struggled with his entire life. Fortunately, he landed a job at a New York law firm. Ruth traveled to Columbia Law School, where she was elected to the school's law review and then graduated from Columbia, first in her class. Despite her impressive grades and outstanding academic performance, she was still facing gender discrimination. She started teaching and was stellar at it. In 1993, there was an opening in the Supreme Court and RBG wanted the position. President Clinton knew that she was reliable and gave her the opportunity. It was one of the smartest decisions in Supreme Court history. But who actually was Ruth Bader Ginsburg? Miss Evans, a history teacher at Palo Alto High School, has more.
She was known for her unbelievable push for gender equality and women's rights, and she did an enormous amount for that throughout her entire career, not just when she was on the Supreme Court.
Obviously, you could use notorious as a word to sum up RBG. But Miss Evans also thought of a good one.
Unwavering. She was really unwavering in her focus on gender equality. She got onto that very early in her career and just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and really I think the United States has a huge amount to thank her for in terms of how far we have moved towards gender equality. What was really interesting is she took on just as many cases about men being discriminated against as she did women. So, for gender equality rights, she was just this incredible champion. She started early in her career, I think in the early 1970s, she started working with the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union.
The ACLU works in the courts, legislators, and communities to defend and preserve the individual rights and liberties guaranteed to all people in this country by the Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
She broke a lot of barriers throughout her life, right? She was somebody who graduated top of her class from Columbia Law School.
She even has a prize at Columbia for being that outstanding in academic achievement.
We would not have gotten as far in terms of looking at the laws that we had written and our and how inherently gender was written into our laws.
That notion that we should each be free to develop our own talents, whatever they may be, and not be held back by artificial barriers, man-made barriers, certainly not heaven sent.
For InFocus, I'm Matthew Ehrlich.
That does it for today's show. Be sure to check out our website, subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch previous content, follow us on Instagram to engage with our content, and Twitter for updates and breaking news. Until next time, I'm JP Conrad, and this has been InFocus.